name's Sam and this is the Little Greenhouse Creates. Thank you for joining me today and welcome to our stamp set of the week, Sweet Bugs. It is a beautiful stamp set, 14 images in the stamp set, of which 3 are sentiments and the other 11 are the adorable bugs in the set. So you've got a worm, you've got bumblebee, you've got a ladybird, you've got little ants, there's flowers, there's so much going on in this package. Then we have got the dies, 22 in total. So they cut out all the animals, they cut out the flowers, and you've got some added toadstools as well. Right, so let's bring in the card, our first card for this week, and that's this beautiful card here. Now, I saw this on Pinterest. It was done by a lady by the name of Monique van Unstrom. Now, if I've got her name wrong, I apologise. But I saw her design and thought I had to have a go. So this is my cased version of her card from Pinterest. And I just love it. I just love how cute the animals are, and I like the idea of the way it's been broken up. So let's bring in my supplies. I have got a piece of old olive which measures 8 inches by 5 3/4, and as usual I have scored it at the 4-inch mark. I then have a piece of white cardstock which measures 3 3/4 by 5 1/2. I have another piece of white which is 3 inches by 4 3/4. We're going to do our stamping on that. And then I have got 5 pieces of old olive. Now these all measure 1 inch by 3 1/8. Let me just make sure I've done this right. Yes, 1 inch by 3 3/4. 3 3/4. They're too long. I'm doing well today. These should be 3 1/inch. So bear with me for a second and we shall cut these down. Let's do that quickly. So it's 3 1/8. So I'm just going to, that's 1. See if I can do them 2 at a time for the quickness. 3 1/8. There we are. And then the last 2. 3 1/8. Perfect. There we go. Lovely. So that should fit on there. Look at that. Perfect. Excellent. So we're doing well now. So these are 1 inch by 3 1/8. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is we need to stamp all over this with our cute bugs. I'm going to use the Memento ink and then I can colour it in with our blend pens. So let's see what we've got. So the first thing I've got are these bluebells. Really liking the bluebells. So ink it up. Pop it on. I'm going to put one there. And then I'm going to put one there. And then we can have one on the other side. 2 there. Okay. Right, so that's the bluebells. Then I've got this beautiful worm and his leaf. Let's put him there. Lovely. I've got my flying bumblebee. Now what you will notice with this flying bumblebee is that his hands are just hanging there. But it comes with a watering can. So what you do is you pop your watering can in his hands like so. How clever is that? We've got toadstools. So you do one there, one there. And then I've got a little flower. and that's going to go on the end there. Right, so once we've done all of that, we just need to colour them in with our blend pens. And I have got quite a few blend pens. So let's go through the colours and we can work it out together. Right, so I've got light and dark crumb cake. Now he is for our worm. So I'm going to colour our worm in the light. And then I will add shading with the dark. Okay. Oh, I've got, let's have a look at this. This is light grey granite, and that is for the underside of the toadstools and also the stalks. Okay. Then I have got the light and dark of the berry burst. So the dark one is for, oops, the larger of the three. And then I'll just put top there. And then I've got the light version for the smaller ones. Like so. There we go. Then I have Pool Party. This is Dark Pool Party, and they are for my, let's do the other end, for my bluebells. Okay. I have the light and the dark old olive, and that is for the leaves. The dark goes down here, and then the light goes on this version. And I'm using that also for the leaves on the bluebells and the grass for the flowers. Then I've got, let's see what else I've got. Oh, I've got the Light Poppy Parade. That is for my flower here. Okay. Then, I'm using Soft Sea Foam. That's for my water droplets. I've got Dark Poppy Parade, which I'm going to use for my watering can. There we go. And then I've got yellow for my bumblebee. So light lemon lolly for his face. And I'm going to use dark lemon lolly for his body. So this bit up here, here and here, but not his bottom. Then I'm going to colour in shading at the top with the dark and give him a colour on his bum. So obviously you can see I haven't coloured all of that in, but I have done one earlier. And those of you that have noticed, there was a flower on the leaf on this side, so I shall add that one later. Okay, so once you've done all of your colouring in and you're happy with your display, now is the time to be brave, and you're going to cut it. So you're cutting it in 7/8 of an inch. So it already measures 3 inches that way. So we're going to turn it this way, and we're doing 7/8 of an inch, and we need 5 of those. So you will get a very small piece left over. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and the last one, 5. So these all measure 7/8, and then you've got this bit which you don't need, by 3. So these now can be layered onto our 5 strips of old olive. And I'm going to do that with my Stampin' Seal. So just literally run a streak down and just pop it on. Let's make sure you've got the right. Now it is quite a thin border all the way around, so you just need to make sure you've got that. That looks about right. There we go. 2. Sure, there we go. So you're going to create a jigsaw, I suppose, with your 5 pieces. They should all fit in line. Now I'm going to use a T-square or T-ruler to help me with the next bit. You can do it by eye. It's whatever works for you, really. And that is just to get them all lined up and into place. But with a bit of patience and the help of my little gadget here, we should be fine. So this bit is going to sit at the end of my paper. Bring it over so you can see. So it sits like that. And it's going to give me a straight line. And then I can put my white piece down. Now, if you want to, what you could do is just put a piece of the Stampin' Seal on the back and then just position it so it keeps it straight still for you, and then you can work out where these are going to go. So let's make sure we've got these in the right order. So we know our little man is there and there. We've got the bumblebee, then we've got the bluebells, and then we've got the leaf. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to line my ruler up with this line here. Okay, and that should give me the right layer for the flower. So I might move it up just a touch. That's better. Okay, so you've got 1. You want to give yourself enough room either side, but not too much that you don't have enough space for your other ones. So as you can see, there we are. You're going to get, so that gap is too big. There we go, because we don't want him looking too there. Okay, so once you've done that, you can now attach it with your glue, multi-purpose glue. So let's take that, and I'm just going to put a wriggle line down there. The reason I'm using the multi-purpose glue is it just gives you that little bit of wriggle room for getting everything straight. So I'm going to make sure that the gap here, sure that's straight. There we go. As you can see, wriggle room. And then I'm going to do exactly the same with the last one. Make sure that the gap at the end is the same as the gap on the other end. Perfect. All right, and then we've got these 3 ones to do in the middle. Let's just work out. You don't want the gap too big and you don't want it too small. Right, so I'm going to take the middle one. I mean, if you wanted to do it all in order, it's fine. It's just my brain. It works easier this way. There we go. Okay, that's one. Then we can get this one. There we go, in the middle. And then the last one is this one. Oops. either gap, either side. Right, so now that you've done that, this is the easy bit. You're going to unstick it from the bottom. Oh, hang on, that's moved. Let's make sure that is stuck fully down. Okay, and now we're going to mount it on to here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put glue on the bottom of that, the multi-purpose. There we go. That will then pop over here. And the only thing we need to do now is to add a sentiment. So let's pop that there for a second, and we'll bring in our strip, which is 1/2 inch by 2 3/4. And I'm just going to use the normal happy birthday from the Simple Said. Let's try it this way. And I'm going to stamp it in the Memento Black. Let's put that there. There we go. Now you can glue this, or you can put it up on dimensionals, whichever is your preference. And I think I'm going to put it here. So let's put it up on dimensionals this time. So let's grab our dimensionals. Here they are. So I'm going to put one there. That's going to go there. I'm going to have one in the middle. As you can see, it's easier to do it this way. One in the middle. Then actually put it on the sentiment, because you're not quite sure. I didn't want it to go in the gap. And then we've got one in the middle there. There. Okay, so let's take those off. And we can straighten up our sentiment. There we go. Perfect. So there are our 2 cards for a Monday. So I hope you like those as much as I did. Don't forget, I'm back on Wednesday with our next card, so do join me then, and I hope to catch up with you. But whatever you do, happy crafting. Bye.